doesn't take pictures till after.
Who? Doing what?
They didn't take pictures till after you left, so they probably didn't want the bus in the background.
Probably, yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Oh, my neighbors are selling their house over here, and Pam says they didn't post it until we put the bus inside the shop because they didn't want to know hippies are living here. Oh, well. How you doing, folks? Morning, America. Afternoon, America. How you doing? We are in the shop, as you can see, and do an audio test. I got my mic here and do an audio test. Last time I did a live, I had the gain turned up too loud, and it was blasting everybody out, and they said the audio was terrible. So give me thumbs up or thumbs down if the audio is good or bad. Hello. Hey, Catherine. How you doing? You still up there in Arizona? Melissa, how you doing? The audio good, yes or no? The thumbs up or thumbs down on the audio? So, had a little trouble with the semi. Yes. Nice seeing you. Okay, Melissa and Jeannie Shannon. Julie, Melissa Golden, audio is perfect. Great. All right, we got the audio good. Falconic view. All right, we got good audio then. All right, thank you. I'm back in, Pam's over here. She's been here in Texas. She's living in her house now. She bought a house, if everybody doesn't know, and she's moved into it. And then when did I leave to go up there? About the 20th or so, 18th of May. May 18th or 19th or somewhere along in there. Oh, me a splotch. See right there? I got me a splotch. I've got, you know Michael Jackson, who wore that glove? He always wore that glove. You ever wonder why he wore that glove? He had vitiligo. You ever seen, it shows up really bad on darker skinned people. Vitiligo, it's a pigmentation, lack of pigmentation. The melanin in your skin is going away. Now I get a little splotch right here, and it goes up here into my mustache area, but right there into my mustache, and then I've got some on my head here in different places. But see my fingertips? See, like right there? See that little white spot? It shows up on it. The darker tan I get, the more it shows up around all my fingernails here. I got just different areas, just a few different places on my skin that has that. It's on my right hand even worse. See right here? There's no pigmentation there at all. So it's called vitiligo. And anyway, I got just that little splotch right there. There's some over here, but it's covered up. And I've been thinking about just going with a goatee to cover it all up, but oh well. Oh well, Po Buddy's nerfed, you know. So I'm damn close though. Finally, smoking a pipe. I didn't take any pipe or any alcohol or anything like that with me. I've been cleaning myself up, so to say. Haven't smoked a pipe, haven't drank any alcohol at all since May, so when I went up there to drive a truck. One of the reasons I didn't take this is because it smells, obviously, and it'll get on my clothes. Even if I smoke outside the truck, it gets on your clothes and hair and stuff like that. And I get back in the truck, and then Kirk would start complaining about the truck smelling like I'm smoking in it. So I just now, and my lungs needed a break from this anyway. So anyway, this is the first pipe I've smoked in a month and a half now. So and I'm enjoying it. So, all right, what's today? What's on the subject today? Truck breakdowns. That new truck that Kirk got me, well, he didn't buy it for me. He bought it for somebody else, and I'm just driving it to help him pay the payments on it. And anyway, it's a 2021 Peterbilt 567 model, okay? And it's got all the emissions and all the electronic logbook and all the crap that I hate about trucks. It's a plastic truck. It rides very, very well. It's got really good suspension and it rides nice. You feel like you're driving a pickup that's pulling a cargo trailer or something. It rides like a pickup. It rides so much better than the older trucks. But it's all plastic and everything, and it's got all the electronic crap on it. And what happened was last week, about 10 days, it was like on a Wednesday, a week and a half ago on a Wednesday, I was over in Kentucky driving along. And imagine this, you're in your car and you're driving along, you're pulling a little bit of a hill, so the engine's got some torque pushing, you know, you can really feel the engine going. And you accidentally hit the button on the cruise control and kick the cruise control off. You know how you're sitting there driving along and you'll feel that deceleration. Like it just, the engine quit working, quit pulling, you know, well, what the heck? And I reached down with my foot and tapped the throttle and it takes back off. So it was a little hiccup, just, I mean, a half a second little hiccup of, what the heck was that? So you start looking into your gauges, something's going wrong. Well, I couldn't see anything wrong. And trying to read some of the messages coming up. But anyway, I can't do that and talk at the same time, so here we go. So anyway, I'm driving along there and it did a little hiccup, and that was on a Wednesday last week, a week ago. So then Thursday, it did it three more times, and boom, what the heck? And I just hit the throttle, kind of play with the throttle, and it kicked back in, go to pulling again. And I'm like, you know, and then I did it a couple more times when I didn't have the cruise control on. You know, I'm thinking maybe something's wrong with the cruise control. But I've got my foot on the pedal, and all of a sudden it just dies. I'm like, what? You pump the throttle a little bit, and like, what's going wrong, you know? And it kicks back in, starts working again. So something's starting to go wrong with this thing. So I called Kirk and let him know. And he goes, all right, well, you know, is it broke down? I'm like, no, I'm driving down the road now. It's just, there's been a couple of hiccups. So something is going wrong here. And it'll, you know, they never fix themselves. They always, you know, get worse and worse and worse. So all day Friday, I was down there in Kentucky, sitting at a dock waiting to get unloaded. What happened on that day, that was a bad day for me as far as revenue. I got down to Kentucky and delivered, and I had a 10 a.m. appointment on a Friday, okay? And it takes, well, no, 11 o'clock. 11 a.m. appointment on a Friday. It means I wouldn't get unloaded until about 1 o'clock. It takes about 2 hours to get unloaded down there. And then they wanted me to bounce up to Illinois, and it's 260 miles, 270 miles, something like that. And I only had 4 hours because they closed at 5, and I had to be there before 5 o'clock. And I wasn't going to be able to make it. Well, so I'm sitting there trying to figure out what I'm going to do about this, talking with the broker and everything. So she takes me off that load, and we'll find something else for you. I'm like, all right. But I sat there, and the problem was I was the third truck in a day and a half to bring the same product in. I brought yellow peas in. And I sat there. They finally put me in, but there was 2 trucks ahead of me that had unloaded on Thursday afternoon and Thursday night. Okay, and here I am Friday morning trying to unload this third load of the same product into their factory. Well, the factory, it's not like a big farm where they have, you know, silos that'll hold 50 or 80 truckloads, you know. These inside the factory, there's all these different ingredients, and each ingredient has its own silo, okay? And that particular ingredient had 1 silo, and each silo holds about 2.5 truckloads. So they put 2 trucks in there, and there was only enough room for about a half a truckload, so they got to wait until that load, they use some of that product in their production line before the level gets low enough where they can put my truckload in there. So they put me in at about a little bit after 11 o'clock that morning, and I got about 3/4 empty, and everything shut down. The vacuum system they have all shuts down. I'm like, uh-oh, what's going wrong? So I asked him, and he says, yeah, the silo inside's full. So we can't unload the rest of your stuff until we use some more product. 10 hours later, I finally get the thing unloaded. It was 9 o'clock at night. I finally got empty. 9:30, I guess, something like that. I pulled out and got on the scale. I gave them paperwork, and I didn't have any place to go anyway because I didn't have a load for the next day on Saturday. I'm thinking I'm just going to have to wait till Monday. Well, then they give me Saturday morning. She says, hey, we've got a load over here going to picking up in Kentucky, only about 80 miles away. Oh, that's good. And it's going over to Missouri for Monday morning. And that'd be a small weekend load. Sure, I'll do that. So I go over, pick it up, and I sit there at Tyson. Yeah, Tyson. I have a bone to pick with Tyson. I don't like them. You know, their chicken's fine and everything like that, but when it comes to the factories and stuff, I hate their factories. So anyway, I get over there probably around 10:30 in the morning, and I sit there, and I finally got loaded about 10:30 that night. It took about 12 hours to load me. And there was only one other truck ahead of me. I'm like, why would it take so long? Well, it didn't. It took about 30 minutes to load me, but they were doing construction in the bay where they load, and they didn't tell anybody. They just sit there and let you sit, you know, and that's what I don't like about Tyson. The truck driver's time is not worth anything to them. They don't give a crap whether you're sitting there. I could have left and went and did something else. But no, I'd sit there in a stinky old chicken factory for, you know, all damn day. And it was hot. It was like 90 degrees and it was hotter than hell and it stunk like hell. And that's, anyway, so that was Saturday. So Saturday after I get loaded, I drive about an hour down the road, pull over, go to bed for the night. Wake up Sunday, I'm going to drive over to Missouri. And it started acting up all day Sunday. That truck started acting up. Did it quite a bit more. But they were just little short 1 minute, you know, won't run, and then it would kick in and take off again, you know, and then 20 minutes later it'd do it again, and then 5 minutes later it'd do it again. But it never just shut down. It's going into what they call limp mode. So it would go into limp mode, which is only giving it, instead of 500 horsepower, it's only giving it about 50 horsepower. It's enough to move the truck, but you can't get any speed built up. Therefore, it highly encourages you to pull off the side of the road or pull off to a truck stop or someplace safe and get it worked on. And they purposely do that to shut the truck down so you can't hurt the truck anymore. So anyway, I finally got it over there and got unloaded on Monday morning. And then I went down into, where'd I go? Oh, I went up to Sedalia, Missouri and picked up a load going up into Iowa, another Tyson load. That one wasn't getting worked on, so I got there and I got in and out in about a half hour. So that one wasn't bad. So I leave there and I'm heading over, you know, where Hannibal, Missouri is, kind of northeast Missouri. I go up past there and I'm going up Highway 61 up to Davenport. And I get into Iowa and it hadn't hicked up, it worked fine all day. Now the check engine light's still on, but it's working just fine. And the funny thing is with technology, I'm sitting there talking to Kirk about all this stuff, and he just happened to be at home at his computer, and he gets on the computer onto the logbook, the Motive logbook app. I've got the app on my phone, but he gets on the computer and he has the administrative side of it, you know, because he's the boss. And he got to looking through there because we were talking about logbook stuff too, you know. And he was looking through there and he goes, huh, right here it's showing the codes. Your truck is messed up. I'm like, yeah, I know. It's kind of like, wow, it's showing which code it is. It's, you know, code BR549 or whatever it was, you know. And it said low voltage to sensors or sensor, you know, a low voltage code going to one of the sensors. Which sensor? So it's just a code to us and it says low voltage. That's all it says. So, I mean, it's not low voltage on the batteries and the alternator and all that, but on that particular circuit, whichever one it is, going to whatever it is, it's shutting the truck down. So, he calls his mechanic, which is a local mechanic there, and, you know, he's got his personal phone number and everything. He says, hey, I got this code on this new truck. He goes, oh yeah, them damn things. And he says, yeah, it's code number BR549 or whatever it was, you know. And he says, yeah, that just says there's a code, you know, it doesn't tell me anything. I'm like, oh, he says, I have to plug it in and go through on a mechanic side of, mechanic can plug it into the ECM port and they can kind of diagnose what's wrong with the truck. But just the code that's sending, it's just saying there's a problem in this general area, but he can get on a computer and get specific about what it is. So I get up to Davenport Tuesday morning, unload, and I limp it over to Peterbilt to get it worked on. And they were pretty sure it was the throttle. On your old cars, you take an old 57 Chevy, let's say. You have your foot accelerator pedal. That's hooked to a linkage that goes through a cable or something, goes up to the carburetor. It's a mechanical device, okay? Every car made today, every pickup, every semi, every airplane, you know, they call it fly-by-wire. Your controller, whether it's the joystick on your plane or the throttle on your plane or the throttle on your car or anything, it all runs from electrical signals to the computer, and then the computer tells either the engine or, let's say, the flaps on an airplane. The computer tells everything what to do, okay? So anyway, that throttle, it was the throttle sending unit, I think they called it. Throttle sending unit. And says we don't have one of those. That's probably what it is, but unless we get it in the shop and hook it all up, we don't know what it is. And we don't have one of those anyway. And it says we got one coming in, but it's for another truck. It's already spoken for. All right, so Kirk's like, well, does the truck run? I says, yeah, it's funny. I'm driving along, and Tuesday evening, it's after dark, and I'm driving along, and it just shuts down. And I'm on 50 horsepower on flat ground, so I can get up to about 45 mile an hour on this 2-lane road. But it has a big wide shoulder, and I see somebody coming, I get over on the shoulder and let them by, and then I jump back out in the road. It was real quiet, hardly any traffic. So I limped it on in to Davenport and got in there and shut it off. And the next morning it's running fine again, but it will eventually act up. So he says, while I'm cruising down the road, after I called Kirk and everything, I still got another hour to go. I'm driving along, and my hip is getting a little uncomfortable from sitting in the same spot all this time. So I thought, well, I'll put the cruise control on, see if the cruise can work. So I hit the cruise control on, hit the the set button, and it takes off. What the heck? So then you've got your cruise control switch on and off. You have your set and your resume button, okay? And then you have your plus and minus button. Every time you hit plus, it adds 1 more mile per hour, just like in your car. And you hit minus, and it takes a mile away. So I'm doing about 46 mile an hour, let's say, and I hit cruise, and I felt it kick in, take off. So I hit the plus button, 56, 57, 58, 59, and boy, it just took off, just running fine. It's not working with the pedal, but it's working through the cruise control. So I get up to 65, and I'm driving along, la-da-da-da-da, and I go on into town. But it's only working with the cruise control. The problem with cruise, though, is it only kicks in once you get above 28 mile an hour on that particular rig. 28 mile an hour before you can set the cruise control. So if I come up to a stoplight, it takes me 4 miles to get up to speed to 30 mile an hour because it's very low powered, right? But it's flat ground, so I can go through the gears and get up to about 29, 30 mile an hour, and then I can kick cruise control on and then drive normally through the steering wheel on the buttons. So that was Monday night. That was Monday night. So Tuesday, I go to Peterbilt, and they tell us all this stuff, and we don't have one of those. We can order one, it'll come in about 5-6 days later. Well, we're not going to be here. I want to sit around for 5 days. So we make the decision. I can drive through the cruise control. It's working right now. That's the funny thing. It's working right now, but eventually it'll mess up. But if it does mess up, I can always use the cruise control. So we decided to go get another load, and the broker found a load going from Iowa into Kansas to get close to the shop so we can deadhead home and get it worked on. So that's what I did. I went down there Tuesday afternoon and loaded Wednesday morning for a pickup a load going to western Kansas, and dropped that off on Thursday morning. I was at the shop at about noon on Thursday. He puts a computer on it, finds out what this gizmo is. He unbolts it, puts a new one in because he was pretty sure that's what it was. So they had already ordered the part, and the part was sitting there before I got there. And he unbolted it. Took 5 minutes. Unbolt it. There's a wire plug goes in. You unplug that, take the 3 bolts off, take it off, put the new one on, put 4 bolts on, plug her back in, and it's been working fine ever since. It's just headaches, You don't know what it is out on the road. I'm not a mechanic. I don't have the computers to do that type of stuff. And it's just, it's a sinking feeling when you're in your car and you're only 5 miles from town and your car messes up. You got family or friends or somebody to call and help you out. Hey, come get me and we'll go get the truck tomorrow or pull it into town or, get the car or whatever. And we'll take it to the mechanic and get it worked on. It's local, it's close by. It seems like it always breaks down when you're way out in the middle of nowhere. Now Iowa's not the middle of nowhere, but still. I could have been in North Dakota, and it breaks down, and it completely breaks down. I'm sitting on the side of the road out in the middle of nowhere. It's just that sinking feeling of, oh God, what am I going to do? And you figure it out, and you survive, you get the thing fixed and whatever. It's just when it first happens, you're like, why here? Why couldn't it happen close to a city? So anyway, that was my past week. Now, you'd think, hey, Stan, why didn't you film all that? Because I was aggravated. I didn't want I'm cussing this stupid truck. So, anyway, I had pictures. I've got pictures on the phone, but I can't show it to you because I'm using the phone for the live stream. So I can't really show you what the part was and everything. But basically, it's the foot feet, and then there's an arm. It's like, kind of like in the back of your toilet bowl. You've got that leveling valve, and when the water goes down, it opens a valve. Okay, when it comes, when the water comes back up, it lifts it up and it shuts the valve off. But do this electronically instead of a water valve, make an electrical valve. Okay, and so anyway, that's what went wrong in that little device. Take a guess. Just don't have to send messages or nothing, but just I'll tell you here in a minute. Take a guess how much that one part, not the labor to fix it and everything, just the part, that foot-feet part. What would you think it costs? What would you think a accelerator pedal for a truck, a semi, or Peterbilt? Well, there you go. It's Peterbilt. It's going to be expensive, but $600. $600 for the part. And then, of course, the mechanic's going to charge you for labor to put it on. So, anyway, I don't know what the bill was. I didn't see it. He charges it to Kirk, so I never saw the bill. But I know the part was $600 because Peterbilt told me that. The other thing is, while I'm up there in Davenport at Peterbilt, I asked him, I said, what, you got that part? And he goes, I don't know, go to the parts department and find out. So I went over there and they says, yeah, we've got one coming in, but it's spoken for on another truck. And probably 3 or 4 days before we can get another one. He says, but right over Cedar Rapids, they've got one, and over somewhere else they've got one. Because they can look in their inventory and see what other Peterbilt dealers have in their inventory. Now, I could have drove over there and I could have bought that $600 part and put it on myself. But if it's not the part, let's say it's not that part, it's another sensor. One of the mechanics I was sitting there talking to, he says, we put it up there, and I says, well, can't you just plug it in and find out what's wrong? He says, well, we can find out which circuit it is, but that circuit can have anywhere from 6 to 20, depending on how the truck is set up, what kind of devices it has on it. And this truck is a nice truck. It's got a lot of devices on it, so it's probably more of the 15, 18 sensors on that one circuit. He says, you can change parts, but it gets expensive putting parts on that aren't broke. It's better to find out what that exact part is. I said, well, how do you do it? He said, well, we put the computer up to it, and then we start unplugging parts until the code goes away. We'll unplug that part, didn't do it, so we plug it back in, go to the next sensor, whatever that is, unplug it, nope. Go to the next sensor, unplug it, nope. Go to the next, oh, there it is. That's the one that's wrong, and it's a $80 sensor. You plug it in, and it works fine. But you have to have the computer to do all that kind of stuff. So he says, yeah, you can put that part on, no problem, but it might not be it, and it's an expensive part. And I'm like, well, if it doesn't work, I'll take it back, right? And he goes, nope, electronics you can't return. That sucks. He goes, yeah. He says, well, how would you know I used it? He says, when you plug it in, there's the little metal pins that are in there. When you put here's the pins in the part, and here's the wiring harness. When you plug it in, as you plug it in, it scratches the copper or the coating that's on there. It scratches it just a little bit, just ever so spot. And when you unplug it, we can see that it had been plugged in. And once it's been plugged in, we won't return. We won't take it back. Well, why? That sucks. He says, well, you never know what's wrong with your truck. You plug that in, it might screw that part up. And now we're taking a $600 part that you just screwed up by plugging it in. Okay. He says, but anyway, they didn't have that part anyway, so. But I could have went somewhere else and bought that part, put it on, but it's a $600 gamble. Do you buy that part, put it on, and it's not the problem, and now you've wasted $600. But anyway, we worked it all out. We got back home, we got it fixed and worked on, and from there I went up to Nebraska, a different place in Nebraska, and picked up millet. Anybody know what millet is? I've heard of it, never knew what it was. It's little bitty seeds. Actually, hold it, I'll be right back. here is some bird feed. I've got a bird feeder out here. And this is your bird feed that you would buy and put in your bird feeders. Oh, I'm gonna have to stand up here so you can see, but there's bird seed, okay? It's a mixture of all kinds of different stuff, sunflowers, milo, and all that. But see the little white ones here? Those little bitty, that one there, okay? That little seed right there, oop, that, it's hard to show you because they keep falling. But that little bitty seed, that's called millet, okay? I got 25 tons of those little bitty seeds. And I think I need to go out and count them. Be there a while, huh? But yeah, it's 25 tons, 50,000 pounds of millet seed. And it's going down close to Houston somewhere to a plant that makes bird seed. Now this isn't bird seed, it's animal crackers, but I put the bird seed in there, okay? But those little bitty, that right there, that's millet. Those little bitty white dots, that's millet. That's sunflowers. And the orangey one, like right there, that's milo. But the light, almost tan, really light colored one, that's millet. So that's what I got on is millet, and delivering that tomorrow. I'm going to leave tomorrow morning and head down there and deliver tomorrow afternoon, and then get to rolling. So that's what the video is about today. That's kind of, we're done, but I'm going to talk just a little bit more. Dollars, money, dollars, money, okay? I'm working for Kirk, and he's paying me a percentage of the load, and the loads are paying this much money, and I'm getting that little percent of it, you know. And last week, because of this truck messing up, we ended up, I only hauled 2 loads that were on last week's paycheck, and because of that, it was a terrible week. For one, the load going back to Kansas to get home for the shop, it was a really long deadhead. We started, I deadheaded from Davenport, Iowa, all the way over, damn near, just south of Omaha, okay? And for anybody that knows where it's at, but Nebraska City, okay? In Nebraska City, really close to that, okay, on the Iowa side. And that's where I picked up, and it was going down to southwest Kansas, down by past Liberal, way down in the southwest corner of Kansas. So I only got paid that little bit for driving from Davenport all the way down there and all the way back up to Quinter. Had that long run and only got paid for about 35, 40% of the run, okay? Because that, you only get paid on the loaded miles. So I actually drove, not a lot of miles, but I mean, I drove quite a few miles and didn't get paid a whole lot for it. So last week, my check would be somewhere around $900, I think. I don't know until, you know, they send it in and find out, you know, because they go on, they just, when they send you the paperwork, they give you an estimated load, or a dollar amount. That's if you pick up a full 50,000 pounds. Now, if I pick up 51,000 pounds, okay, I'd get paid a little more. If I pick up 49,000 pounds, I get paid just a little bit less. So they just average everything at 50,000 because I should be able to pick that much up, and I do. Every load I've hauled so far is right at 50. This one here is just ever so slight, like 49,930 or something like that on the paperwork. So it's just right under 50,000 pounds. But anyway, my first 5 weeks, no, my first 4 weeks, averaged, I had a really good, I had 2 really good weeks and 2 okay weeks. The really good weeks were in the $2,400 and $2,600. Now that's before taxes, and that's to me. That's not what the truck paid. That's my percentage. It was $2,600 and $2,400, and then I had a 19 and I think a 21 or something like that. So it averages out, and then this past week it was only about 900. So if you put them all together, I'm averaging right just a shade over 2,000 a week. And I'm just tickled to death of that because that's about how much I was making working for Choice with my own truck, because the rates were terrible hauling those brand new trailers. It was really low rate prices, okay? And I loved it because it was easy work. And I had that big apartment studio, you know, shower and kitchen and the whole 9 yards. That was awful nice. But I didn't get paid per mile, didn't get paid a whole lot. Now here hauling this stuff, I'm actually getting paid, the loads pay so much better and I'm getting that percentage out of it. So I'm real happy with the payroll up here, and that's why I'm going up to do this, because I can go up there and work for the summer and make, you know, enough money as a company driver. Don, there's my $1 million super chat. Don. And we're going to keep after this. We're going to get to $1 million someday. That's the old joke for people that don't know. I joked around. Well, it was around that convoy when we was doing that convoy, and I said, you know, somebody just sends me $1 million super chat. I won't have to do none of this. I'll be able to retire and walk away from trucks. And so Don started sending me $2 at a time. So it only takes 500,000 super chats to make my million, right? So anyway, that's an ongoing joke with Don and a couple other people. You know, here's your $1 million super chat. So anyway, so that's about it. That's what I got this week, is just the truck broke down, and I didn't have a video last week because, for one, I was dealing with that truck breaking down, not running right. And another thing is just the places I've been going, those first 4 weeks was pretty much just back from Nebraska down to Kentucky, back and forth for the most part. I go down there to Kentucky, then I did head back up to Illinois, pick up a load going back out to western Kansas to dairies and stuff. And then from there, I'm real close to Nebraska where they load. I go right up there and pick up and go right back down to Kentucky. And I've just been doing that back and forth. And I wish I was still doing that. Now, even though that place in Kentucky took 10 hours to unload one day, that was an oddity. You know, usually I get down there and I get unloaded within a couple hours. The problem is I get down there at 8 o'clock at night and they want to, you know, my appointment's not till 10 o'clock or 1 o'clock the next day. And I can't, they won't bring you in because they've got it scheduled out to where if they put me in the door before it's my appointment, those hoppers might not be empty and they might not be able to load. So they schedule it all out to where we're not going to unload that truck. Don't even bother coming, because we're not going to unload you until 1 o'clock on Tuesday or whatever day it is, okay? Because there's not going to be room for you to unload into, okay? That's one of the things I wish was a little bit better, as far as, you know, the scheduling was a little bit better, because there's a lot of times I'll show up Tuesday at 6 p.m. and I got to wait till 10 o'clock Wednesday morning before I can unload, and that takes till noon to get unloaded. It would be really nice to be able to get down there at 6 o'clock and kind of first come, first serve. You know, you get in there, you unload and take off. They just don't have the storage capacity. They have a whole bunch of places to put stuff. It's just that particular ingredient, there's only one silo they use. They might have 30 silos inside the building, but they've only got enough room for 2.5 truckloads per silo on that ingredient. Now, some of the ingredients they use a lot of, they might have three silos for that one ingredient. But that particular stuff I brought in, they only had one silo, and they had just had 2 trucks come in. They got somebody new in the scheduling department, and I guess they're having issues with her getting up to speed on stuff. I guess the other person that retired or something, I don't know. They were really good at scheduling stuff out. This new person is not all that good at scheduling, I guess. So, learning process. So she'll get better, I guess. I don't know. I don't know who she is. They were just telling me, yeah, there's a gal up there in scheduling. Everybody's mad at her because she's never right on time. You know what? Okay, whatever. So that's it. Are we getting a lot of bad weather? Was that you talking to somebody else, or?
He just asked that.
Oh.
Not lately.
Not lately. It's dry. It's real dry here. It's hot. It's going to be supposed to hit about 100 today. It's about 95, 96, I think, right now, something like that. So yeah, it's hot. There's a little bit of a breeze. I got a fan blowing on me. Pam's sitting over in the heat. There's a little breeze coming through, but it's a variable wind, just kind of just slight wind here and there, a very light breeze. Every now and again, you'll feel a breeze come through. But I think that's about it. Like I said, if I'm out there on the road and I see something that's, oh man, that's pretty interesting, I'll make a video about that. I'll make a video. But me unloading, like I unloaded that stuff at that dairy where I opened the hoppers and just let it out on the ground, You know, I could show that every time, but it's the same thing. After 5 or 6 of those videos, you would go, it's the same stuff. So if I come across something unique, you know, now I could have made a video about Tyson. You know, it would have been a very negative, yeah, Tyson, no good so-and-sos, you know. So, and I don't want to make negative videos if I don't have to, you know. So even though it's Tyson, I would love to slam them. I don't like Tyson. I don't like Tyson at all. Now, like I said, their chicken's fine. I don't have a problem with that, you know. But it's just the way they treat truck drivers. When I hauled reefer 30 years ago, I went to a Tyson plant down in Kentucky, in Arkansas, Batesville, Arkansas, I think, something like that. Anyway, it's one of their original plants. I went in there and I unloaded in Little Rock on Monday morning. I showed up to load a load of chickens going to California. It was dead, chopped up chickens, but not frozen. It was fresh chickens. And they were in these what they call Gaylord tubs. They're 4 foot by 4 foot tubs, and they just throw chickens in there. Of course, the blood leaks out all over the floor, and they're nasty, okay? And don't get me wrong, chicken's good. I like to eat chicken, don't get me wrong. But going up and loading this stuff and everything, the factories are nasty. And chickens make a mess. They make a bloody mess all over inside your trailer, and then you got to go get it washed out, and they stink, you know, and everything. And anyway, I show up there to pick up a load of chickens Monday, about noon Monday. I sit there all day Monday, all day Tuesday, okay? Going in there, hey, when's my load ready? When's my load? What's your load number? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, yeah, that's not ready yet. Wednesday about noon, I went in there and come on, I've been here since Monday. And they go, well, they just kind of shrugged their shoulders. Well, come on, give a shit. Your time doesn't matter anything to us. And they didn't say it, but they just kind of had this attitude like, oh, here's another bitching truck driver. Well, we wouldn't bitch if you get us loaded and get us out of here. We got shit to do, you know. I got places to go and be, you know. It's Wednesday, and the person finally admits to me, he says, those chickens ain't even here yet. They're not even dead yet. I'm like, what? He says, yeah, those chickens, they're not scheduled to get here till about 8 o'clock tonight. And then we'll have them, and it's amazing how fast they'll process them. You know, they'll show up at 8 o'clock at night and they'll load your truck at 10:30. You know, he says, those chickens aren't even scheduled to load, you know, to be here. And I'm like, son of a, you know. So then, you know, I'm supposed to be in California on Thursday, and the truck's not even loaded on Wednesday. Come on, you know, that's why they don't give a crap. Truck driver, you just go sit over in the corner and shut up, you know. So that's why I don't like Tyson and big companies like that. They don't give a shit about anybody. All they care about is 5 o'clock, they get off on their shift and go home. That's all they care about. So anyway, it was about midnight Wednesday night, and they still hadn't got loaded. And I went to bed. And I says, if they don't call me through the night, when I wake up in the morning, I think I set my alarm for like 7. It's 30 years ago, but I think I set my alarm for the next morning. And I says, on Thursday morning, if they haven't called me through the night to get me loaded, at 7 o'clock in the morning, I'm leaving. And I took off. And I got up that morning. Nobody's called me. Fuck them. And I walked away. I drove away. And I actually drove the truck back to the company that owned it, dropped it off, said, bye, I'm leaving, and quit. Because I'm not going to haul for shit companies like that. And I've never hauled for Tyson until these loads here this past week. And I wasn't happy about it. But I'm not working for some big nameless trucking company that doesn't give a shit whether you work there or not. I'm working for my best friend, and I don't want to piss him off. So I bit my lip. Kind of made some blood here. I bit my lip, and I waited and I loaded it and stink. And then, the thing was, I load Tyson chicken, the chicken byproduct meal. Okay, going to a dog food plant. And I haul that over to Missouri, unload it, and then I go to another Tyson plant, pick up chicken byproduct meal, the same crap that I had, but I had to wash the trailer out before I showed up. I had to wash the trailer out before I put that chicken byproduct meal, the nastiest stuff you can haul in a tanker or in a hopper. Probably not the nastiest, but anyway, still, it's stinking nasty stuff. And when you're loading it, you're walking around on it, and then it gets on the bottom of your shoes, gets up into your carpet on your truck, and then it stinks. You know, it gets on your body. You know, do you think this smells bad? Nothing compared to that chicken meal. You know, and fish meal, bone meal, all that, all those meals. That's why you open a bag of dry dog food up, take a sniff. Okay, that's what the whole plant smells like. That's Yeah, dog food doesn't smell good to us. Dogs like it, but you know, that's why it stinks so bad. You know, that's the odor you're smelling. Well, is there anything else I can bitch about? But anyway, just explaining what I've been going through out here, dealing with the broke truck and everything. And I thought, you know, I could have got a camera out and videoed some of that, and I wasn't in the best of moods. You know, this stupid truck and blah blah blah. Well, now I got it fixed. Everything's kind of okay again. But you know, last week I was pretty grumpy last week. So. I don't know why I'm driving this piece of crap. But anyway, the reason I'm driving is because I told you the money. That's why I told you the money. You know, it's worth biting your lip over if you can make good money like that. So, and that's another thing is, you know, this whole camper, RV, travel around the country lifestyle. For those of you that know the Bob Wells out in Arizona, where we go for the RTR crowd and everything. And Bob is like, quit your job and go get in a van or an RV of some type and you can go do these summer jobs, these traveling jobs, these nomadic jobs. And I've looked into those. You know, I thought, well, I quit trucking and I'll go do that. And, you know, and the money is so poor. I can drive a truck for 3 months and make more money, a lot more money than they would working all year at this, you know, really low paying, because they're even way below minimum wage. But basically, they'll pay you a certain dollar amount, but they give you a free campsite to put your rig in. But because they're giving you that, they don't have to pay you minimum wage. They can pay you like $5 an hour kind of crap, you know. And you work 3 or 4 days a week, but you get a free campsite. And for people that are retired and, you know, don't want to do anything, they go sit in an RV. 3 days a week, you know, going and cleaning up the campground toilets and stuff and picking up trash and, you know, cigarette butts and stuff like that. That's okay for that. I don't really care to do that kind of work when I know I can go out and make better money driving a rig. And so that's why if I could make $1,500 a week doing some kind of summertime job like that, I'd probably do it. But you can't. You make $300 a week and get a campsite. So basically what that does, they don't have to pay for a campsite and they make $300 a week, and that pays for their groceries, and they come out even. So they work a little bit, and they break even on money, you know. So anyway, and I know there's a million other kinds of jobs. The camp hosting stuff, you know, campground host. That's just an example. I've got a friend of mine, Brian. He usually every summer, I don't know if he's going up this year or not, but every summer he usually goes to Alaska and works on the salmon run up there. And he makes pretty good money doing that, but it's a kind of a nasty job, you know. Fish oil, they smell so good, you know. They taste good, but they smell great. Anyway, with that, I guess that's it. Should I do some questions real quick? See what people have been talking about? What have they been talking? You've been reading the comments. Little everything, okay. All right, I'm going to read some comments now coming in. So if you got a quick question, we'll do this for about 5 minutes. Hopefully I won't get off on some tangent again. All right, Brenda, how you doing, South Georgia? And, come on, comments. Everybody's feverishly typing right now. Nothing will come in for a while, and then all of a sudden, they'll go. 10 or 15 will come in the next second. We need truckers. Thank you for driving. Okay.
K-Train said he needed a truck driver for the farm down there. Remember we met him down in Austin?
Okay. Oh yeah.
I think it was hint, Stan. I need you
Yeah.
to come help me with the wheat.
Yeah. They're actually cutting wheat this week. Kirk, when I left yesterday, I left Quinter yesterday. Yesterday morning, got up and went out to the shop, and they changed oil in it. And I cleaned the truck up. I put new windshield wipers on, stuff like that. I did a few little different things. But as soon as I left, they were heading out in the combines to go cut wheat. And originally, the idea was I was going to come up and drive a truck. And then when weed harvest come around, he was going to need another driver. So he's going to pull me off the road and put me in the old blue truck. Oh, the other thing, my old blue truck, what?
Go ahead. I'm just looking at K-trains.
Yeah, I'm sure Stan's biting at the bit to come help me. I wouldn't mind coming helping. It's just I got other stuff going on right now. But anyway, Kirk, he told me about 3 weeks ago. He says, "Hey, I'm going to have you come off the road and help on harvest because I'm going to need another driver, and I'll be driving my old blue truck." Well, my old blue truck broke the other day when we was up there on Thursday evening. One of Kirk's drivers, his local driver, has been driving it, and he called Kirk, says, "I'm broke down on the highway out here, about 5 miles down the road. Almost made it home, but the thing just quit running. It just shut off. Everything just died on it. Engine and everything just died. He rolled to a stop." So we jumped in the tool truck, and he called his mechanic. His mechanic beat him out there. Mechanic showed up, and they farted around. He was there for a couple minutes, got it running. And by the time we showed up, we're coming down the highway, coming up to the back of the truck, and the truck takes off and merges on us. We just followed him back into town. And there's some electronic, gremlin in it now, so they're trying to figure it out. But anyway, I was going to come in and drive that blue truck, and about a week ago, he calls and says, "Well, never mind on the weed harvest. I don't need you now. You stay out on the road." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, what happened?" He says, "Well, you know Tom, friend of ours, and no, not Tom Hobotech, a different Tom that we know, truck driver Tom from Texas." He says he's kind of retired, not doing anything, and he said he'd come up and he'd run weed harvest for me for a couple weeks. I'm like, "Oh, okay, great." So Tom's going to come up and do the weed harvest stuff, and it does two things. One, I'm happy because it keeps me out on the road making better money, because I can go out and make, like I said, a couple $1,000s a week driving a truck, or I can go do weed harvest and make $500 a week, $600 or whatever, because it's on the time clock instead of trucking. And I'm happy about that. Keep me on the road where I'm making better money, but also Kirk is making better money. So if he pulls me off the road, not only is he's losing the truck revenue, because remember, he keeps the other 70, okay? I get 30, he gets 70. Now that 70, he has to pay for fuel and all the upkeep with the truck and everything, but he keeps the 70. It's a much bigger check, okay? If he pulls me off the road for a couple weeks at harvest, he loses that revenue, okay? So if he can find somebody else to come in and drive the local truck for weed harvest, he can keep me out there. I'm making more money, but he is also making more money. So everybody's, it's better all the way around for everybody. So, and the other thing is Tom, he hasn't, been around for a while, so he gets to come up and visit and hang out with friends, that kind of stuff. And so anyway, it all works out great for everybody, What? Oh yeah, my questions. What are my questions? K-Train, I've got a friend that used to farm and had his own truck. I'm hoping I can talk to him for helping me out. Talk him into helping me out. I'm sitting on a tractor right now. I got the feeling I'm never going to get caught up. Hey, don't worry, K-Train. Kirk is still trying to get. Actually, when I left on Saturday, his main farmhand was still planting Milo. He's planting Milo. That should have been in a month ago probably. But Kirk's got so many acres and he doesn't have enough manpower to get it all done, so he's got to stretch it out, and it ends up getting done, but he's behind schedule, Does Kirk do the same things as Choice did for you? Karen, what do you mean? In what way? Does he do the same? Choice used to give me back rubs and foot massages and stuff, and Kirk doesn't do that. I don't know. The thing with Choice is I had my own truck, and I had that big sleeper and big, it was comfortable to live in and everything. But the rates were like $1 a mile plus fuel surcharge, So I was only making like $1.50 a mile, and I'm paying for all the fuel out of that. The grain hauling, or not the grain, the hopper stuff that I've been doing has been in the 260 to 310 range, So it pays so much better, and I'm getting a portion of that, and that portion is about as much as I used to keep after all my expenses at Choice, So I'm actually happier doing this because I'm making roughly the same amount of money, and I don't have a dog in that fight, I don't have a truck to maintain and pay for, mechanical breakdowns and stuff, How's the bus doing? It's been sitting here. When Pam moved into her house, she bought a new house. When did you buy that? In March? April. She bought it in April, moved in May. And right after she got moved in, that's when I left and went up to Kansas. But right before we left, I backed it into the shop, unplugged everything, turned everything off, and it's sitting there. So yeah, the bus is doing fine. I mean, so anyway, let's see here. I know I had cotton baled out, may have to replant, or hailed out. I think most of us farmers are in the same boat when it comes to being short-handed. Yeah, I don't know anything about cotton. Pam says she used to pick cotton. When she was a little girl, her dad had a farm down here in Texas, and she'd go out there and pick cotton. And she used to sing all the old slavery songs. Oh, we're eating the cotton, and that's what she makes it sound like. What is, he had what is it, a cotton picker? What is the machine that picks cotton? Cotton picker? Okay, he'd go out and pick the cotton, and it'd miss some, and she'd go out and pick up the missed stuff, And it was her dad making her do stuff to build better character in a child, But she makes it sound like her and 30 other slaves were out there picking cotton in South Georgia in 1721. Oh, they're beating us. No. So anyway. And that all probably came out wrong.
You need to do that.
What?
You need to build character in you.
Build character. I am a character. What are you talking about? But when I grew up in Kansas, we never picked cotton because we didn't grow cotton up there. But I cut a lot of cane. For those of you that don't know what cane is, Milo is a sorghum, okay? And it grows, about 4 foot high maybe, 3 foot, 4 foot high. And it has a million little BB type seeds at the top. And then they have what they call shatter cane that is a weed that grows in along with it, right? So back then, the farmers would hire us teenage kids to go out there and cut cane. And we walk up and down the field, no different than a cotton picker, okay? And we'd have a machete, and we're walking along, and the cane would grow 6, 7 feet tall, and the Milo only go about 3.5 feet tall. So you go along, and all this stuff that's real tall, you'd just cut it so it'd fall to the ground, and so that when they went shortly after, or they went and harvested it, you wouldn't get all the cane seeds, okay? You're cutting the cane to get it out of there before you harvest it, therefore the harvest doesn't put a lot of cane seed in with the Milo, okay? Anyway, so I've done a lot of that stuff. I did lots and lots of hay. I put up a lot of hay in when I was a kid. Now, I say that, and my dad is probably watching, like, yeah, you didn't put no damn hay up. Not like we did. We put hay up, and we walked uphill both ways to school in blizzarding snow while we baled the hay. Yeah, that's how, parents and whatever are. But, yeah. How are I? Jaden, how are I? I are good. I got my head freshly shaved, and I'm smoking my pipe, and everything's are good. Things are good. So, let's see. I'll be replanting the Milo if I don't, replanting it to Milo if I don't run out of time. Keitra, I don't know where was his farm at, did he say? In Texas?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's kind of late to be putting Milo this late in Texas. Wouldn't it burn up in the summer heat? I don't know. I don't know much about farming in Texas because I've never done it down here. I did, we did farming when I was a kid and then helping Kurt, but it's all Kansas stuff. I know Texas is at least a month ahead on wheat and stuff like that. They're down here cutting wheat, and that up there hadn't even headed out yet.
This is in the
Panhandle. Okay, all right. Let's see. Yeah, Panhandle. There you go. All right. Have I been in touch with Joe or anyone else from the Convoy? I called Mud Pig. Seems like just not too long ago, but it's probably 6 months ago. I talked to Mud Pig. He's a daddy now. He got twins, and everything seems to be going good for him. He sold his truck that he had during the Convoy. He sold that. And he went to work for a company. I don't want to say which one it is, but he went to work for a company hauling doubles, double trailers. So he's a union guy now, okay? So that's Mud Pig. Joe sent me a message, or he tried to call me last week. I forgot about that. I need to call him back, see what he wanted. But, oh no, I talked to Joe. The last time I talked to Joe was when they did that second convoy down to the border, and I called Joe and said, what do you think about all this? Because he went on that convoy. And before people would say, hey, are you going to go on this convoy again? I'm like, what convoy? So they told me, so I thought I'd call Joe, and sure enough, Joe's going on it. So, but that's the last time I talked to Joe was during that other convoy. And he had right after I talked to him and, what was the other guy's? Oreo. Him and Oreo had a wreck in their car. They were driving along and at an intersection had an accident of some type and totaled the cars out. I don't know who, they hit somebody else. They were in the same car and they hit somebody else, or somebody else hit them, or I don't know the story, but I know they had an accident. But I think they're all okay. I don't know. Other than that, really, I haven't talked to anybody else from the convoy. No, not really. So, what else? Let's see here. We can plant milo until about the first week of July. Okay, all right. Do I want to sell the bus? Do I want to sell the bus?
No.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't mind selling the bus. I probably won't use it much anymore. I mean, the idea was she retired and we were going to get it in the bus and go travel around full time, and she misremembers it. She hated it,
No,
You did. You hated it.
You misread everything.
Everything was cold. My feet are cold. Or it's hot and I'm sweaty, or there's flies, or I go to use the restroom. Oh, it smells like poop in here. Really? It smells like, what was it you said this morning when I was using the restroom? Oh, it stinks in here. Yes, when people poop, it stinks. Simple as that.
It was a fan.
But anyway, yeah, she hated the truck or the bus and everything.
No,
she didn't like
I
it. You
didn't
didn't.
hate
Yes,
the
you did.
bus.
Yes, you did. You're misremembering it because I know you hated it.
It was cold because I always sat by the door. You were by the heater.
No, the heater was blowing around. Anyway, do you want to go live in the bus? Sell your house and let's go live in the bus.
I live 24/7, 365
Do
days.
you want, okay,
to
go sell your house.
Go somewhere for a few months, fine.
Woo!
But I got a home base that I can come to
All right.
if I don't want to
All right.
sell it.
Pam doesn't want to sell the bus. I sell it to her. How's that sound? You want to buy it? Anyway, Joe recently lost his wife's brother in an accident in Mexico. Oh, no. That's bad. Sorry to hear that, Joe. Well, that's Trina, but sorry to hear that, Joe. Sorry to hear about your truck. Yeah, we got it fixed. It's running fine now. So they changed the part on Thursday evening. Friday morning, I left and I drove up to Nebraska, picked this load of millet up, and came back through the shop. And it ran fine up there and back, and so we figured it must be fixed. And no check engine lights or anything like that. So everything seems to be fixed on it. So it was just that throttle sending unit. If you were to sell the bus, what would you want for it? $1 million. $2 at a time. $1 million, $2 at a time. Don T. Rump. Don T. Rump. He'll buy it for $2 at a time. Poo smells like that in an RV too, Catherine says. So, but yeah, that's my opinion. I'd like to sell the bus. If somebody walked up to me with $35,000, yeah, I'd be gone. Okay, I don't really want to take less than that because that's what I got into it. Not counting labor, just materials. Okay, I got about $35,000 into it, and so I wouldn't want to let it go for less than that. But yeah. I was planning on putting it up because I'm going to be gone. If somebody wants to buy it now, well, can I come by and drive it? Well, no, I'm in Kansas or somewhere. I'm in Utah driving a truck. I can't come down here to show up. So I haven't listed it anywhere, but this fall, probably around September, I was going to list it on different sites and stuff, Facebook, places like that. I was going to list it for sale, and I was going to ask $35 for it. So $35, and people that watch the channel pretty much know everything there is to know about it. It runs fine, it works fine, everything like that. It's just the idea was to go live in it full time and travel around the country, and that isn't going to really happen. And I was telling her, she goes, well, we want to go travel around a little bit. And I says, okay, for the amount of money I have in the bus, for the amount of taxes and insurance I got to pay on it every year, the fuel it costs to drive it around, okay? And if you want to go travel, go to Colorado for a couple of weeks for a vacation, it's cheaper to go to a hotel, okay? I can put all that, well, a couple of weeks or a month or two, whatever. But what I'm saying is, to take those little shorter vacations like that, it's cheaper to you take the van and just go around and maybe sleep in the van one night and then sleep in a hotel the next night, or and get showers or whatever. But yeah, the bus, it's a lot of money to be just for a very short part time. It'd be different if you wanted to go live in it, 9-10 months out of the year. But I know you don't want to do that. So, but anyway, so the bus isn't for sale yet, but I'm up to it. If somebody walked up and said, "Hey, here's some money," yeah, I'd sell it. Okay. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. And you tell me, 35,000 too much or too low or whatever, but that's what I've got in it as far as just materials. The bus itself was $10,000 when I bought it. That had all the seats and everything in it. I had to take all those out, all the labor to do that. The solar panels and all the batteries and all the electronics for the electronic, the solar system. I probably got $10,000 in that. Those batteries are almost $1,000 a piece, and I got 4 of those. All the electronics and everything. Yeah, I'd have to do some adding up and everything. Just as I was building it, I was just kind of keeping in my head about how much I have in it. And I think I got about 35 in it, okay? And I could go back and get receipts out and add everything up, but 35 sounds about right for me. Well, I don't know if some people go, "Oh, 35, I might as well go buy a pickup and a fifth wheel." Okay, go buy a pickup and a fifth wheel then. But if you want a school bus, some of these guys, they build them up and then they want $100,000 for them. I'm like, there's no way I'd spend $100,000 on a school bus. The idea of a school bus, cheap, keep it low price, So anyway, so any other questions I've missed? Because I've been yakking. But yeah, if anybody's interested in buying the bus or whatever, send me an email. Okay, their emails are on the YouTube. It's sasnakvideo@yahoo.com. Is that right? Yeah, sasnakvideo@yahoo.com. It's on. Look on the YouTube page here at the very bottom in the description stuff, and it'll have it in there, along with all the other stuff that's down there, like your Patreon and your what's the other? No, PayPal. Yeah, PayPal and stuff like that. That's all that stuff is down in there in the descriptions. So anyway, we're right at about an hour, a little over an hour. So I thought this was going to be a half-hour video, and it's turned into a lot more. So, but anyway, that's it. That's what I've been doing for the last week, fighting the truck. Fighting the electronics on a modern piece of crap truck. It's pretty. Don't get me wrong. It's a pretty truck. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, and it rides really well. I'm surprised with that, is how well it rides. But I would rather have a 379, a pre-emission, pre-logbook, older 379. Just the electronic logbook's a pain in the butt. So anyway, all right, good enough. Anything else? Okay. Well, with that, y'all be good. Take care, and I'll be expecting that 35,000 next week. Million, yeah, the million. All right, well, y'all be good. Take care. Good seeing you again, K-Train and all. Richard Carter. What's been the next trip around when's the next trip around the Beltway? I hope I never see Washington, D.C. ever again. Okay, does that answer your question? I hope I never go past the Appalachian Mountains again, unless I'm going to. I would like to go to Maine and go, do some vacationing trips and stuff up in Maine, Nova Scotia, way up in, go into Canada and places. But as far as the east coast of America, the big cities from Boston all the way down to, you know, into Virginia, I don't have any desire to ever go back there again. Probably will somewhere along the line sometime or another, but I would like to go to Washington, D.C. and go to the Smithsonian and, you know, go see all the touristy stuff in Washington, D.C. for a touristy thing. But as far as going up there and bitching at your congressman, they don't listen. They don't, I'm getting into politics here. Save me. Save me.
I'm good.
Yeah, it's time to go. You know,
You're sweating.
Big Brother's listening. So, do you remember in 1772, 1774, 1775, we had a big problem with a government we didn't like, and what did we have to do? I think we're having the same kind of problems with the government we have now. So, that's most as I'm going to say about that. But remember what we had to do before? Yeah. So anyway, with that, y'all be good, take care, adios, and y'all have a good one. I'm going to go get in the air conditioner because it's kind of hot. So y'all be good, take care, bye-bye.